Jason Shays on set. Tweet your questions to @Michelle Morrow or @Alex Albrecht. For now, we're going to send you off to Hall D and what's next for Hearthstone.
Welcome to the Hearthstone Mean Streets of Gadgetzan panel.
Gadgetzan, the city of opportunity.
Gadgetzan, where the gangs rule the streets. Gadgetzan, full of swindlers and cheats. Sip and sing, a ring-a-ding-ding on the mean streets of Gadgetzan. Gadgetzan, where crime does pay. Gadgetzan, but we do it anyway. Take on your rivals for your gang survival and the turf that belongs to your clan. Every little kid, everyone is crooked.
Welcome to the big time, pal.
On the mean streets of Gadgetzan.
Now who's got the upper hand?
Hey guys,
What's up?
how's it going? Awesome. All right, this is super fun. We finally get to tell you about our new expansion for Hearthstone, the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. Our team, the Hearthstone team, has been working hard on it all year, and this is going to be a ton of fun. All right, I'm Matt Place, senior designer on Hearthstone.
And I'm Jamal Kendrick. I'm a concept artist on Hearthstone.
All right, first I have a question. Is everybody here okay with spoilers? Yeah! Thank goodness, because we have a lot of new content to share with you today, and we're going to tell you a behind-the-scenes story of how we created Gadgetzan. First, a question. I don't have my clicker. I need a clicker.
We need a clicker. Stat.
All righty. All right, howdy. Just like in my dream, this is perfect. All right. So some of you guys might be wondering, why Gadgetzan? Thank you. It's a sleepy little town out in the middle of Tanaris Desert. Not a lot going on here other than some shady dealings. Got Alliance and Horde you could transfer items between using the neutral auction house. And one day, Deathwing got mad and caused a global cataclysm. As you can see, this did not... Oh, the clicker's not working. There we go, awesome. So Gadgetzan was unfazed, other than becoming beachfront property. It was great for Gadgetzan. It created a ton of new opportunity now that it's a port town. And this opportunity caused huge growth. And all of this growth was overseen by a character who might be familiar to some of you. He's now the mayor, Mayor Nuggetfucker. Cool. All right. So let's dive in and take a closer look at the creation of the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan.
So I'm going to share with you how we approach Gadgetzan from a visual perspective. We wanted it to feel dark, scary, and like bad news could be waiting around any corner. We wanted the back alleys to feel like they had back alleys, but in a fun Hearthstone kind of way. Let me show you where we begin. So initially, we started off with buildings that kind of felt like they fit in the current Gadgetzan. We just put our flavor on it. We started out with the barbershop, because you know, barbershop is a neighborhood staple, right? I mean, who doesn't, well, we don't all need barbershops, but a lot of us do. It just seemed like a no-brainer. And just below that, we had to go to the tattoo shop. In a city like Gadgetzan, where you have all these crews and crime families and gangs, they got to represent. What better way to represent than to get tatted up? So from there, we realized, you know, we need the city to feel big and bustling and like it's growing. So we started stacking these buildings on top of each other to get the height we needed, you know, get the feel we wanted, and you know, that felt like the right direction. So after that, we realized we had to design the 3 districts for our major crime families. On the left, we started with the grimy goons. They're tough. They're like your street-level mobsters. So that's what we're going for. We went with strong shapes, strong materials, bullet holes in the wall. We wanted to feel really strong and tough. After that, we moved on to the Jade Lotus. We got a lot of inspiration from Pandaria. The lanterns, the curved roofs, ornate doorways, and I feel like we accomplished that. On the far right, we have the Cabal. They're mages and mystics. We wanted them to feel a little dangerous, so we went with more triangular shapes, because of course that feels dangerous. You can see that in the silhouette of that building. You can see it in the windows, even in the drapery hanging down. So now that we have the city kind of figured out, we know the direction we're going in, we had to kind of establish a mood. And I want to stand up here and tell you guys, like, establishing this mood was super hard. But let's face it, we don't have a day-night cycle in Hearthstone. So we just did ourselves a solid, and we just made it always night. There's our mood. Let me show you how this played out in game. So on the far left, the grimy goons. You can see some of those strong shapes, those heavy materials. It feels industrial and it feels tough. In the center, the Jade Lotus. You see the archways, the lanterns. We really feel like we accomplished that there. And on the far right, you see those triangular shapes. You see it in the shapes of the buildings, the windows, and of course that drapery. But not only did this early concepting inform the in-game card art, but it also informed the board. We always have a great time making these boards. Hopefully at this point you can kind of see those clearly distinguished factions in each corner. The top left is the Cabal. We got those sharp shapes, and at this point we're establishing some of the palette. So you see those purples, it's going to tiptoe into rich reds, and we're kind of happy with that. To the right you see the grimy goons. It feels tough, it feels strong. You can see those materials we use, and with that we kind of went more with the oranges and browns. Like, we wanted to feel earthy. Just below the grimy goons on the bottom right, that's the Jade Lotus. You can see those Pandaren influences. You see the green lantern, the ornate doorway, the clay tile roofs, and it's interesting. Right next to the rogue's weapon is a little bush. I suggest you clicking on that little bush. Some fruit might pop out that you can slice and dice. You know we love hiding clickables all throughout the board, so have a good time finding them. And on the far left, it had to be the docks. The docks played such a pivotal role in the growth of Gadgetzan that we couldn't leave them out. And that kind of wraps up our visual design of Gadgetzan.
Awesome. All right. Sweet. All right, so let's do our first card reveal. This is a denizen of Gadgetzan you might meet walking down the streets, walking down these mean streets. The big-time racketeer. So he's a big-time criminal, but small himself. So he's always got his big muscle, his 6'6" ogre with him. We're going to look at that in game. With sound. So he says, "Say hello to my little friend." The ogre pops out and says, "Hello." And it's hilarious, as you guys will find. All right, and if you want to hire some muscle of your own, our next card is for you. The second-rate bruiser. So he's base 5 for a 4/5 taunt. If your opponent's playing an aggressive deck, has 3 or more minions in play, he goes down to 3 mana 4/5 taunt. So pretty incredible. Pretty great defense against aggressive decks. So cool card. All right, as Jamaro mentioned, the docks played a huge role in the genesis of this new Gadgetzan. So of course that means pirates. And our next pirate is a legendary. He's actually a design that we've wanted to do since the Grand Tournament, and we finally found the perfect set for him. Here he is. Patches the pirate. He's a 1-cost 1/1 charge that jumps out of your deck when you play another pirate. So pretty cool, new, interesting design. And he's the envy of pirates everywhere, since he has more eye patches than most pirates even have eyes. And let me show you exactly why he's perfect for the mean streets of Gadgetzan. So we play our pirate.
I'm in charge now.
It's the size of a cannonball, so he gets fired out of our deck. Pretty cool. And now we're gonna gang him up. You guys see where this is going. This is great. Perfect for our set about gangs. He combos with gang up. We're gonna do it twice. Go crazy. So now we have 6 pirates, 6 patches in our deck. All right, fast forward a few turns. Sassy Captain. You guys know where this is going. This is great. Super cool card.
Shit, it's still going.
Awesome. Yeah, really cool design, perfect for the mean streets of Gadget Zan. And as we mentioned earlier, in addition to pirates and individual criminals, there's 3 major crime families that call the shots here in Gadget Zan. And the first one we're going to show you is the Grimy Goons. They represent the disorganized crime here in Gadget Zan. They make their cash with petty crimes and bank robberies, and their major operation, which is weapons smuggling. And they all take their orders from their leader, the 2-headed ogre, Don Honcho.
Don Honcho. This guy was so much fun to create. He's half shrewd businessman and the other half knuckle-thumping thug. I mean, this guy, he started from the bottoms. He worked his way to the top. He's ambitious, he had a plan, and he had the muscle to like really change things in Gadget Zan. At this point, he's recruiting madly. He's trying to bolster his ranks in preparation for a hostile takeover of Gadget Zan. Let me show you what went into designing this character. So, of course, with the 2 minds, we wanted him to visually reflect that, so we just literally like split him down the middle. Like on one side, he's slick, man. His tie is nice. He's got cufflinks. He's got that mobster aesthetic. He has the cool hat, the bowler hat. He has the pinstripe pants. On the other side, he just wants to be comfortable while he knocks people out. And he's like Debo. I mean, I don't even think he washes his clothes. And that must be kind of hard when they're stitched together, but I'm sure they figure it out. Now, even their weapons say a lot about the character. Like, that gun is pretty efficient. Where on the other hand, you have these brass knuckles. He wants to get up close and personal and in your face, okay? So what we tried to do with this is we tried to establish a lot of the visual language, the palette and stuff up front, so we can inform the rest of his goons and the rest of his henchmen. Let's look at these guys. So on the far left, you have the Hosen. And as you can see right away, he has that cool hat. He has the pinstripes. You can see that across the board. The suspenders. Right next to the Hosen, you have this Forsaken. And honestly, with that straight razor, that dude looks like serious business. I don't want to run into him in a dark alley in Gadget Zan. And the Murloc on the far right, this guy's interesting. On the Hearthstone team, we kind of like have this Murloc test. We kind of throw a Murloc in everything just to see how it feels. And this Murloc, he had a tough time because he had to grow out a mustache. Have you ever seen a Murloc with a mustache? You have now. So let me show you these guys in game. So you can see some of those design choices, the pinstripes, the cool hats. That Murloc's, his mustache is still looking cool. And check out his weapon. He doesn't just have bullets in his gun. He has seashells. I mean, that's what a Murloc would do. To the far right, we have that Goblin. And like Matt said, you know, weapon smuggling and weapon trading, that's a major source of income for the Grimy Goons. So we also had to design quite a few weapons for these guys. And I'm going to show you those. All right. So the big gun on the top left is the Rock Spitter. That was the first gun that we created. It felt so awesome. I mean, you stuff in boulders, you grind them up, and you shoot rocks into your opponent's face. I mean, that's so much fun. And again, here we are with this Murloc test. What kind of gun would a Murloc use? He used a piranha gun, right? And
Shoots off piranhas?
Murlocs, they get hungry. So we made a special attachment that has a fishing pole. After a hard day's work, a Murloc has to eat. But honestly, my favorite gun on this page, and you might have to squint your eyes, it's in the bottom right-hand corner. It's called the Derpinger. This gun is small, but it packs a heck of a punch. And what's funny is the scope is bigger than the gun, and then the scope has a scope. So no shots are being missed. Let me show you a few of these guns in game. So there's the Piranha Launcher. We love the Piranha Launcher, obviously. Like, that's just a cool gun. Oh, thanks. And in the center, my favorite gun, the Derpinger, that Torn. She's holding down her weapons with that little gun. She knows it's the best gun. She feels me. And on the far right, that Rock Spitter got a super upgrade. Like, that guy looks like he has a tank slung across his shoulders. Like, he could probably level a whole block in Gadgetzan. So we're really happy with how that came out. And that kind of like wraps up the design, visual design of the Grimy Goons.
Cool. All right, so let's take a look at the turf that belongs to the Grimy Goons. There are 3 classes that make them up, are Hunter, Paladin, and Warrior. So their gun smuggling is represented by the Hunters, and they're the self-proclaimed law here in Gadgetzan. They're the enforcers on the street, the brutes, so Paladin and Warrior. All right, our first Grimy Goon card. I know a guy. Now you can know a guy. So we love these designs that have this great flavor and perfectly synergize with the mechanic that tells that story. So now you can discover that bodyguard you need, early game, late game, right? Pick the cheap minion, expensive taunt minion, great card. All right, as you might guess, bank robbery is a huge problem here in Gadgetzan. Once you got all that cash, how do you get away? Here's our answer. The getaway Kodo, love it. The Kodo's just busting through the bank, all those Grimy Goons riding on his back. So this is a 1-cost Paladin secret. Whenever your opponent kills a minion, it's going to go back to your hand, so you'll get the battle cries again. So it's a cool new way to get your cards back. All right, next. Small Time Recruits lets you pull 3 1-cost minions from your deck directly to your hand. So we love cards like this that have different ways you can explore it, different deck building paths. So you might do it with Murlocs, all the little guys buffing each other. It's great with Xeris, who's going to transform into some bigger minion later. And regardless of which path you go, it's cool that you're thinning your deck. So you're going to have better draws in the late game when you play this card. All right, next we have Paladin's Legendary. Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. He is awesome. I know he looks crazy, he looks insane, but I'm gonna argue he's not. He has built a cannon into his chest armor, and in the sake of efficiency, he doesn't use his hands to light the fuse to fire the next cannonball. He keeps his beard on fire so he can just duck down and light that next cannon. So as you can see, not insane at all, he's just efficient. Taunt and Divine Shield mean he's gonna get into a couple fights, which works great with his power that restores health to your hero whenever he deals damage. Combine that with some Paladin buffs, get him up to 5 attack, and you might be restoring 10 health to your hero, so pretty awesome card. All right, next, we've got our rare tri-class Grimy Goons card. The Grime Street Informant. So his battle cry lets you discover a card from one of the 3 classes that make up the Grimy Goons. And as you can see, it's cycling through that banner is underneath in the top left, cycling through the colors that make up those 3 classes. And this card is not restricted to one of those classes. You can actually play it in any 3. So you can play it in Hunter, Paladin, or Warrior. And specifically how this works, you will always get 1 Hunter, 1 Paladin, and 1 Warrior card. So you can break the rules and bust out of your class and get some cards from the other classes. So here's an example. You might get Hunter's Eaglehorn Bow, Paladin's True Silver Champion, or Warrior's Upgrade. Now maybe you're already playing Paladin, so you have True Silver Champion, which normally deals 8 damage and restores 4 health to your hero. Combine that with Upgrade, and it's now dealing 15 damage and restoring 6 health to your hero, so pretty crazy. So we love these new combinations that might have been difficult or impossible before that are made possible by these tri-class Discover cards. Another Paladin deck you might play, the Secret Paladin. Imagine that with Eaglehorn Bow showing up, pretty crazy. All right, so that's the Grimy Goons, these enforcers, the brutes, the self-proclaimed law here in Gadgetzan. Our next crime family is nothing like that. They're the cloth casters of Gadgetzan, the outcast magic users that have gathered here in Gadgetzan to practice their illicit magic trade. And they all bend to the will of their leader, who we showed you earlier, Kazakus.
Oh, Kazakis, my man. I like the way his name sounds, Kazakis. It sounds so powerful. Well, Kazakis here, he's very sinister. He's also very mysterious. No one really knows his true origins, but honestly, no one really cares. What they care about is that corrupted mana potions that he sells. That's what they want. They want to get their hands on those. And that's cool with Kazakis, because his motto is, power should be attainable for anyone at a price. Let me show you what went into the design in this character. A lot of fun stuff going on with this guy. Right away, we had to represent 3 classes, priest, warlock, mage. We kind of did that. The cowl, that kind of goes across all 3. But then like his arm pad, like with the skull and bone, that feels really warlock. And if you go down into like his lower robes, you see a lot of those sharp shapes and things that we even established in the architecture early on. We wanted to bring that here because again, it feels dangerous. And he has like a lot of cool stuff going on. First of all, his tusks. Like I've never seen troll tusks like that. And the reason why is because his tusks were contorted and twisted due to the corrupted mana he uses. And that mana is super important. So let me point your attention to his tattoos. All the Cabal get these tattoos. And since they use a lot of external sources of power, these tattoos come in handy. They take that corrupted mana, turn it into tattoo ink, and get these ornate, detailed designs tattooed on their bodies in case they're ever in a situation where they need a little extra push of magic, push of mana to get a powerful spell off. Another cool thing about Kazakis here is his belt. That belt, that little red circle on the center of his stomach, is a portal. Goes right through his body. No one knows where it goes, maybe to another dimension.
Another dimension?
Another dimension. I'm really in love with those white dreads of his too. One final really cool fact about Kazakis here is he started out as a dark spear troll. They feel really cool. They're a little hunched over. So we wanted him to be like more upright. We felt like it felt stronger, and we wanted to give him a little more strength. So we made him a Zandalari troll, and we felt like that was the right way to go. So let me show you how some of these early design decisions affected the rest of his crew. All right, Murloc test. Mana pop Murloc on the far left. What would a Murloc do with this corrupted mana? Well, of course, he'd make it into a lollipop. Whenever he needs a little push, he licks it, good to go. In the center, we have an Arakoa. We just felt like they fit in the Cabal. I mean, they're dark ritualists. They're already kind of creepy. We felt like they just fit right in. And on the far right, we have that goblin just consumed in corrupted mana. Let me show you a few of these guys in game. So we have potions being concocted on the left. We have that tattoo just being finished there in the center. And that orc, he looks super happy. He's got mana, like corrupted mana, like leaping off his back. I need to get one of those, definitely. And on the far right, the Arakoa. We faced a really crazy challenge with the Arakoa, though. They're covered in feathers. Where can we put tattoos? There's a few on his hands, but what we did was we used that shape language and just kind of added it to his robe. So these guys use a lot of external sources of power. Let me show you how we went about creating some of these things. They're potions. Now, you might have noticed some of their potions are wrapped in chains, and that's for a reason. They're super unstable. So they have these enchanted chains to help stabilize these potions. Because I believe 1 or 2 of these potions could possibly level all of Gadgetzan. So they got to keep them under wraps. In the center, you see that tome, another portal to some strange place, maybe another dimension.
Not again, not again.
All right. Let me show you a few of these artifacts in game. All right, the ethereal. Ethereals are cool, and if you guys are familiar with them, they're usually like mummies. They're made of cloth, but this one is made out of those enchanted chains. And personally, I just think he looks badass. In the center, we have that potion about to go nuclear, so I hope those chains hold up. And finally, on the right, we have that person pelling potions. That's how they have to distribute these corrupted mana potions throughout Gadgetzan. So that kind of wraps up the visual design of the Cabal.
Cool. Awesome. And real quick, I want to call out this huckster not only deals in potions, but she's got a mean red sauce that is fantastic on funnel cakes. So some of you might get that reference. All right, so let's take a look at the 3 classes that come together to form the Cabal. We've got Mage, Priest, and Warlock, the Cloth Casters. And as Jamal mentioned, they're the potion peddlers here in Gadgetzan. And our first card is one of their potions that's actually selling super well. It's selling like mad. Potion of Madness. This is a priest spell. It's fantastic. It lets you take an enemy minion, a tiny enemy minion, and attack with it right away. So if against an aggressive deck, they've got a 2/1 and a 3/2. Grab that 2/1, slam it into a 3/2. Great defense for just 1 mana. All right, our next card is a spy. Kazakus decided that he needs to keep tabs on his rivals. So he hired this 9-foot-tall, glow-in-the-dark spy. The Draconid Operative. 5 mana, 5/6, so great stats to start. And he lets you discover a card from your opponent's deck. Really cool new mechanic. And this is great flavor to the spy because not only are you getting to copy that card, but the 2 cards you don't pick are still providing you information on what's left to come from your opponent's deck. So, super cool card. All right, next we have a Mage card. The Manic Soulcaster. So you choose a friendly minion and get another chance at drawing it, which is especially great when you're playing a deck with our leader for the Cabal, who says no duplicates in your deck. So even though you've got 1 of each minion, she'll give you another chance. Speaking of Kazakus, let's take a look at him. All right, here he is. Kazakus is super awesome. We showed him earlier today. I want to dive in a bit more and give you the background of his creation and exactly how creating your own spell works. So one day in Hearthstone design, someone said, hey, what if players could create their own Hearthstone card? And that's an easy question to answer with, bah humbug, what does that mean? That's impossible, we can never do that. But someone else actually answered it, and they said, how about with 3 discovers? So you'll always get to choose a cost. You'll always have 1, 5, or 10. And the reason we chose these 3 costs is we wanted 1 so that if you're under the gun, you need something right away, you've got that as an option. And these 1-cost spells are much better than what you're used to for 1 cost. So for example, one of the permutations is deal 3 damage and gain 4 armor. So quite good. 5 we chose for that perfect curve, right? Turn 4 Kazakus into turn 5 Greater Potion. And then Superior Potion is for late game and for greedy players like me. Of course, depending on the cost you pick, that will affect how powerful the ingredients you get to mix together are. So with King's Blood, it goes from draw 1, draw 2, to draw 3. All right, now I want to show you 2 videos, one of creating this spell, and then we're going to show you the actual playing of the spell.
At last.
Deem us a worthy disciple, so we're going to choose our cost. We chose 10. Now we're choosing our first power. Deal 6 damage to all minions, quite potent. For our second power, resurrect 3 minions.
Job's done.
All right, we'll fast forward a few turns. Oh, look at this, we're way behind. 7 minions to nothing, we got nothing going on. Will our potion get us back into it? Hey, what do you know? We engineered it where it kills all our opponent's guys, and we're left with 3 great minions. But yeah, as you can see, super potent. And one of our goals was to live that original dream where you actually feel like you're creating your own spell. It's so cool. And that meant we needed to create a lot of ingredients. And that's exactly what we did. So each game, it'll be a ton of fun creating your own new spell and skill testing. What you need this game might be different than the last game, different than the next game. So super cool. All right, so that is the Cabal, the outcast magic users here in Gadgetzan. Next, we have our third and final family. They are the assassins. They move by night, unseen. They are stealing jade and jade artifacts from all over Azeroth and bringing them here to Gadgetzan for some nefarious reason. And they are the Jade Lotus.
Oh, the Jade Lotus. Check out that huge Pandaren. His name is White Eyes. He's immovable as a mountain, as swift as lightning, and as pitiless as a storm. When his name is whispered throughout the streets of Gadgetzan, all these hardened criminals, they shake in their boots. They're afraid of this guy. There's one small thing that most people don't know. He is in fact not the leader of the Jade Lotus. He's the sworn bodyguard of Aya Blackpaw. That's her down below. Don't let her bright eyes and her smile fool you. She's quite deadly. She comes in a small package, and just you have to look out for this Aya Blackpaw. She's very cunning. Let me show you what went into designing these two. Okay, right away, we had to have scale. He had to be much larger than her. And to accomplish that, we did a few things. Take a look at his pauldron. It's an ancient Pandaren bell. That thing must weigh a ton, and he's just shouldering that thing like it's nothing. Gotta be strong. Now look at his gauntlets. They're made from empty Brewmaster kegs. Can you imagine how big your arms would have to be to fill a Brewmaster keg? He's a big dude. So you'll also notice that they're adorned in jade that they're collecting at a frenzied pace for some nefarious reason. And also gold. And that gold is to represent their affluent family. Aya Blackpaw is the last member of the Blackpaw family, and they're very wealthy. On the far right there, you see that early sketch of White Eyes? You can see the jade lotus on his back. I mean, honestly, I stood in the mirror. I went like this, just to make sure it was right. I think I got it. I gotta do some more push-ups.
Oh, that's you.
But let me show you how some of these design decisions worked out in their clan. So we pulled a lot of characters and cast from Pandaria. The Mantic, they make great rogues. They got 4 arms. You know, they got 2 little ones with that are like daggers. They can just, that's perfect. In the center, you have the Vermin. Those guys, pesky. Oh, those guys, they travel in packs. They got brass knuckles. It's like a fluffy white wave coming at you. Hard to deal with. And of course, the Jinyu. I mean, they're elegant. They're slippery. She has those cool bamboo nunchucks. He looks deadly but cool at the same time.
Jamar, I want to call out that Ninja Murloc. That is so cool. I wish we had made that a legendary in the set.
Oh, we should have.
If only we had done that.
Listen. Ninja starfish are crazy. So let me show you a few of these guys in game. Look at that Mantic. He's going to cause some problems. And in the center, you have that Vermin. Now, I just told you that he traveled in packs. But he's solo right there. Like, he's super focused. He's like Super Saiyan with carrots. I mean, this guy, I wouldn't mess with that dude. On the far right, you have another huge Pandaren just tiptoeing through the shadows like it's nothing. I'm going to learn how to do that. I'm going to do it. And you notice they all have different kind of weapons. Let me show you a little bit about some of the weapon design. Thankfully, the World of Warcraft team did a great job on designing weapons for Pandaria. So they inspired us a great deal. Let me show you a few of these in game. Ooh, that Jade Golem with the double-sided polearm, super fierce. And there we have Aya Blackpaw in the center. She has a spiked chain with an emerald tip. Deadly, deadly. Like I told you, don't let the bright eyes and that smile fool you. She'll take you out. On the far right, that Mantic coming out of the shadows with that sick dagger, he's an assassin for sure. And that kind of wraps up the visual design of the Jade Lotus.
Cool. All right, here are the 3 classes that make up the Jade Lotus. We've got Rogue, Shaman, and Druid. So they represent the assassins and the mystical and martial masters. Our first card Pilfered Power, quite potent. This is a Druid spell. Gives you mana based on how many minions you have in play. So on turn 3, if you've got 3 minions, you're going to skyrocket from 3 mana on turn 3 all the way up to 7 mana on turn 4. So pretty insane. And creates kind of new cool decks too. You want a lot of little guys to power up your Pilfered Power, and then you skip the middle part of your curve, and then just have all haymakers at the end. So it's kind of a new cool deck. Alrighty, our next spell, I believe everyone in here has probably cast at least once, maybe hundreds, if not thousands of times. Can anyone guess what it is? Oh, I did hear it actually. You are correct. We have given Rogue the coin. The counterfeit coin with Aya actually on the picture. So this gives you 1 mana this turn only, and It's kind of crazy to give this to Rogue, but we had to do it because of how well it combos with the Gadget Zan Auctioneer here in Gadget Zan. So pretty cool. All right, next we've got the rare tri-class for the Jade Lotus. So these cards are super cool. This is Lotus Assassin. It'll let you discover a card from one of the 3 classes, as before, one of the 3 classes that make up the Jade Lotus. I want to talk a little bit about tri-class real quick. We've got 9 total in the set. Each of the crime families will be getting 3. And one of those 3 for each of the families will be their awesome boss. So we're showing Kazakas here this weekend. Each of the other ones get one too, Aya and Don Honcho. All right, so the Lotus agents will let you discover, and this is great. Once again, it lets you break the rules and create new combinations that might have been difficult before. Maybe you're playing Druid who normally doesn't get access to weapons. Well, luckily, Rogue and Shaman do. So pretty cool. All right, we got one more card reveal. This is a legendary, very exciting. It's for Druid. Yeah, pretty awesome. Kuhn the Forgotten King. He is the biggest choose one we've ever had for Druid. 10 armor as one choice, or refresh your mana crystals as the other, which essentially makes him free in the late game. Combo that with reduction of cost for your minions and other things, and he can go pretty crazy, bouncing him back to your hand. Very cool card. All right, awesome. So that does it for the card reveals. We have one more important reveal.
The Mean Streets of Gadget Zan pack. In a dangerous city like Gadget Zan, it had to be a safe, right? You got to keep those valuable Hearthstone cards somewhere safe. But honestly, the fun part is not keeping them in there. It's going to be busting them out. And you'll be able to do that in early December.
Yay, exciting. And leading up to Gadget Zan's launch in early December, we're going to be doing a focus each week on each of the families. So be sure to stay tuned for that. We've got a lot of their cards are going to be revealed, and each has a new strategy, a new way to play that we'll be showing you guys in those weeks. All right, and I'm a liar. We have one more card to show. Couldn't end without showing this. Hinted at it earlier. This is the Assassin, the #1 assassin here in the Mean Streets of Gadget Zan. He's the guy you hire when you need the job done right and no witnesses left behind. And the good news, he will work for fish. So awesome. Finja the Flying Star. He's a stealth ninja murloc who is a master in the art of Finjitsu. And when he kills an enemy minion, he will pick 2 murlocs from your deck he deems worthy to train in this ancient art of Finjitsu and put them directly from your deck into play. So awesome in murloc decks. Could make some new ones since he doesn't make you pay for them. You might want the bigger murlocs. So super cool card. Love it. All right, awesome, guys. Thank you. This was tons of fun.
And honestly, I'm going to speak for the whole Hearthstone team. We've appreciated all of the love, and we love you right back. Have a great BlizzCon.
Thank you, guys. Awesome.